Alright, welcome to another Spirit Island video. So today I'm going to be trying to beat Habsburg Mining Expedition level 4. This is an adversary I've never beaten at this level yet. Eventually I'm going to be trying to go up to 5 and 6 as well. But first I just want to beat 4. So HME, what they do is create mining lands, which are lands with 3 or more invaders. These lands will always ravage even during the build step. But then the disease tokens will affect ravage actions as if they were build actions. And then there's just some extra setup stuff. And then they will upgrade explorers after every build step. Their escalation is 2 extra explorers every turn during stage 2, unless we hit the salt deposits, which are a new stage 2 card that replaces the coastal lands. So let's begin. So I will be playing as Keeper of the Forbidden Wilds and Grinning Trickster Stirs Up Trouble. These are 2 of my favorite spirits to play as generally, and since I'm learning a new adversary, I wanted to go with something I'm more familiar with here. So let's start. All right, so they start by exploring in mountains. So let's start with Keeper of the Forbidden Wild. So I'll just put this away for now. So on Keeper, what I'm wanting to do is probably slow them down as much as I can. A way I can do that fairly effectively is by getting rid of the town that they build here by going Sacrosanct Wilderness this turn and then potentially just doing like a Towering Wrath next turn. However, that is going to be really expensive, and I want to be able to use my growth 3 and then my growth 4 on both of my turns. Or on my next turn, and I need 2 energy in the bank for that. So that probably doesn't seem like a really great option. Another option is potentially just finding some defense in the power card draft here. Might not be as reliable, but I am going to be getting a power card anyways. So maybe let's see what I get out of this and see what I have to work with. Okay, so I did find the defense. There's some defense. However, this is only going to be a defend 1 in mountains. But this is a really good option for other lands that might be ravaging later because it hits both jungles and sands and has a range of 2. Cycles of Time and Tide is an interesting one. I get to add more Dahan to the coastal lands or remove Blight from coastal lands. I'm not really touching any reliable coasts except for land 1 right now, and I could add a Dahan there, but that doesn't seem all too helpful yet. Sky's Herald is the closest to on element that I have here with the sun and plant. And also lets me add back destroyed presence that go away over time, which could help with them ravaging in my lands or anything like that. And then Devouring Ants lets me do some damage in jungle and extra damage in jungles and sands from sacred sites. I'm gonna have a sacred site here because that's the only spot I'm able to grow into. So that also seems like a decent choice, though it only has my sun element again. Now, if this was in the fast phase, if this was a fast power, I would be more inclined to take it because I could just kill that explorer in the mountains. No, then it stops being a problem. Let's see. This power could honestly just pull in do some work also in my land 7 here, starting just to take down a town, potentially in the future help me to take down a city if I get 1 extra damage off of my Punish Those Who Trespass. Yeah, let's see. I think I'm gonna go for... I'm leaning slightly more towards the devouring ants, just because this has some immediate benefits, and I can still grow off of top track here to get that sun element, though it doesn't have the plant I need. So Sky's Herald might be slightly better for the future. I think I'm going to go Sky's Herald because I want to be able to play a sun plant this turn that costs 1. Boon of Growing Power does that. So let's put this down. Oh, whoops. Nope, not regrow. Boon of Growing Power. Okay, so now that that is taken care of, let's see Trickster. So Trickster, especially in this matchup, it seems like the Impersonate Authority, Incite the Mob play is going to be really powerful. Like in my land 8, I use Impersonate Authority, Incite the Mob, and that just lets a city kill a town and explorer, and then that causes them to be only a city and explorer on the next turn with a city with strife. And so that completely blocks their ravage there, and I could even try to move some Dahan with my push Dahan from one of my lands to kill that city as well in the next turn, because they're going to be ravaging here this turn, and then they're going to be ravaging again the next turn. As for this mountain, I could just get a presence into range 1 of that, get an over-enthusiastic arson in there, and just kill the town with the possibility of blighting. But if I don't kill that town, they're just going to blight anyways and kill it at Dahan. So that is an option. As for now, let's go ahead and gain a power card, just a minor. And these are all 1 cost powers. Now, with Trickster, I don't love creating a ton of sacred sites around. I like having presence where the invaders are for my why don't you and them fight. Now, I could also try setting up for a why don't you and them fight play into my land 1, which lets a town and city trade up, or a town and Dahan trade off, and then there's no blight, but Dahan still dies. So I guess my options for solving land 1 are on my next turn are I just let them ravage, a Dahan and town die, and there's a blight. I over-enthusiastic arson, a town dies and there's a chance of blight, or I do my let's see what, or why don't you and them fight, and a Dahan and town die and there is no blight, and that also wipes the explorer off the map. The over-enthusiastic arson does also wipe that explorer out, so I think I'm going to lean towards that for my land 1. So I'm not going to try going for a why don't you and them fight play next turn, but I could do that if they were to explore the jungle or wetlands here at least, or this sands if I placed a presence there. I could also do it in my beast land if they explored there. So Prowling Panthers lets me add a beast or destroy an explorer town in a land with beasts. I do some interaction with beasts. I'm also able to add and move beasts with unexpected tigers. This has 3 of my elements, including 2 of my elements for let's see what happens, and it has 3 of them for why don't you and them fight. Haunted by Primal Memories also interacts with beasts in some way to get some defense. That's nice, but I kind of have strife generation for my defense, so I'm not really feeling like I need that. And then Drought lets me just completely wipe out a a land essentially. I do have one other sun card. I can get another if I were to need that. This just lets me completely get rid of a mining land, and also protect myself from the adversary's unique loss condition, which is having a total of 8 combined invaders and blight in a land, because that destroys 3 towns outright. So drought could be a really good tool for my just to protect me from the unique loss condition. Prowling Panthers helps me to kind of consistently just be able to destroy towns. Sunset's Fire does not do much, and it's too expensive for Trickster. So it's between Drought and Prowling Panthers, and I'm thinking for this turn, for this draft, Prowling Panthers seems like it might end up being more consistent, because it helps me consistently set up why don't you and them fight plays with the beasts where there's no trading but instead just straightforward damage. And it also helps me set up for the Dahan trading if I need. It also helps me with my let's see what happens if I were to play that with say incite the mob and impersonate authority or anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna grab Prowling Panthers here, and then I will add a presence, and let's go over. Let's see. Let's go up here, just so we have a potential. Why don't you and them fight land with that beast, and then we can impersonate authority, incite the mob. And I'm also going to I don't want to push a or I do, yeah, because if I push a Dahan out of this turn, this disease skips the ravage, and then next turn I push the second Dahan out, that finishes off the remaining city and explorer that I leave behind. Okay, so let's let you go down here, and we can also do a let's see what happens into a land. So I have a solution for this. I have a solution for this. So let's see what other problems there are. Let's see what happens. You know, I could actually just place a presence over here, do a let's see what happens over there to help keep her out a little bit. So let's go back, because I don't need this presence here this turn. I can just as easily put it there next turn for the over enthusiastic arson. So let's put a presence right over here in a land with Dahan. Let's see. Yeah, this is great. I'll even be able to do a why don't you and them fight here if nothing substantial happens because of this. So let's do an over enthusiastic arson. Oh no, not that. Sorry, impersonate authority, incite the mob, and then let's see what happens here. Perfect. Okay, so that land is no longer building or ravaging. And then I can upgrade an invader somewhere. So if I upgrade this one, then in the ravage after I do my over enthusiastic arson, they still do a blight and a trade with a Dahan. So I don't want to upgrade there. Let's see. Let's upgrade just over here. And then for you, let's upgrade in this problem land, because they're already going to be blighting there anyways. And we got a wetlands explorer. Okay, so I can stop the wetlands build there just with the spreading wilds. I'll push this explorer over here. And then I think I'm going to use Boon of Growing Power on Trickster just because I'm going to start wanting to just gain energy equal to card plays. And I'll eventually start being able to even potentially do some good majors with Trickster. I might even be able to draft one next turn. So let's do Boon of Growing Power, get a miner. Dry Wood is just 1 damage, unless I pay energy, which I don't want to do. It is on 2 of my elements. Portents of Power, Sacred Sight. Next time an invader is destroyed, 1 fear, plus 2 more. Quicken gets me some defense, a good amount of defense or damage if I have a Sacred Sight. And then Shadows of the Burning Forest lets me push some invaders around, which could help me set up for some better why don't you and them fight plays or just creating like a single problem land. It also has 2 of my elements. So I think I'm going to go Shadows. And then over here, we'll Impersonate. Oh, I can pay an energy. No, there's nothing within 1 that's not an Explorer, so we'll just skip that. And Insight. Okay. And now, I forgot to push a Dahan out of my land 7. That was just... Okay, that was dumb. That was just a dumb thing. When I undid, I forgot to push a Dahan out. It'll at least still take out an Explorer, and maybe I'll get lucky with an event or something, but that was just a really bad mistake. Okay. Now, this land is set up for a good why don't you and them fight. So let's set up to be within 1 of my G1 to be able to over Enthusiastic Arson, because I don't want to be in that land in case it blights from it. And then we will gain energy equal to my card plays. Now I'm pretty well established. So let's do an over Enthusiastic Arson. We can do an Unexpected Tigers. And then let's see. So if they explore into this jungle, Shadows of the Burning Forest helps with that. Prowling Panthers would also help with that too. And because I'm already doing Unexpected Tigers, I can actually just add a beast and then use it for damage somewhere. So let's do that. I can also use it to make up for my mistake here and get rid of that city. Okay. As for Keeper, I'm going to be going G3, G4. So let's first add a presence. All right, let's see. So unfortunately, it has to be either in a land with wilds or a land with my presence, which means I have to either go just 7 or 8. That's not super great, but I can at least potentially like make a sacred site back here to push these Dahan out of here, create a nice pocket, and let the Dahan do things later. So let's go here, and then we'll gain a power. And I think now might be a good time as any to get a major to potentially build around, or I can just gain 1 more miner first. I think I like the idea of getting 1 major out of here though, maybe just for getting Boon of Growing Power now that I've used it once. I might do 1 more miner. Encompassing Ward. Now that's interesting because I have presence in this wetland already, I could try to do something with this land to make that defend useful there as well. Let's see. So renewing boon lets me add back presence. I already have a destroyed presence add, and this one's just worse. It's harder to set up. Gift of living energy. This helps. This is perfectly on element, and it really helps both of us gain energy, because I can use it to target myself, or I can use it to target Trickster for 3 energy once I have 2 sacred sites, which I will very soon. Keeper loves having multiple sacred sites around the board. So Gift of Living Energy looks great, and I want to extend my reach. So I'm going to add a presence to a land without blight. Let's go over here. And then I want to still be at 2 to 3 energy with my card plays right now. So let's do a regrow, because I can get rid of that blight in E4. And I can do a Gift of Living Energy to start helping Trickster set up for some bigger plays as well. I know I don't have 2 sacred sites yet, but 2 energy is still 2 energy, so that's really nice. And then Trickster can draft a major next turn pretty conveniently. So let's finish. And first we're going to do our over-enthusiastic arson right here. And no fire was drafted, so no blight is added. We are going to do a why don't you and them fight here. Stop that build. We'll do a Gift of Living Energy. Okay, so I can either destroy a presence and lose an energy, or choose a power card, put it into play, use it immediately, and forget. So with Keeper, destroying a presence isn't all that bad because I do have the Sky's Herald to add it back. And I also don't really want to use any of these powers. Towering Wrath would clear my land 4, and then I could just draft a different major. Towering Wrath is pretty expensive, and I can try to work around that. No, I think I actually might do just a play Towering Wrath and forget it, and that would also get me to my tier 2 innate. So yeah, let's try that. So Towering Wrath, and use it right here. 2 damage, stops a build. And then, okay, so Shadows of the Burning Forest. I can push an explorer and this explorer out of here. There's not really a purpose to that. I do have just so much energy though, so I think I'm just gonna endure, destroy a presence. Okay, disease doesn't prevent builds, that's fine. And then on each board with 5 or more, Dahan, remove a blight in a land with Dahan. Unfortunately, none of that's relevant. Okay, there's no lands for that either, so just that explorer goes, I guess, and nothing else happens. So let's ravage here, and we'll just do 1/1. Yep, so the disease didn't stop their Ravage. And then let's see, I can upgrade this one because I do have Shadows of the Burning Forest. And then we'll upgrade this one because Beast can potentially work with it. Okay. All right, so let's do a Spreading Wilds here. Push that Explorer out. We'll do a regrow over here. We'll punish those who trespass. And that'll do just 2 damage. I forgot the thing was thresholded. Okay. Now I can either kill this city by moving the beast into there and then doing 2 damage, or I can kill this town. I could just do another enthusiastic arson on the reclaim into here to kill this town as well, and then that completely just pockets a little bit. I do want to do something about these explorers as well, though. All right. So let's do unexpected tigers. Panthers, destroy. Oh, no, no, no. My bad. Nope. It's not doing 2 damage. Okay. So let's destroy. And then we'll actually do these tigers here. And then I can do, I could do a why don't you and them fight next turn, if necessary. And this explorer will die in the ravage. Alright, so Trickster needs to reclaim. I'm gonna move this presence over here for the why don't you and them fight. And then now I can either add another presence, or I can just gain a power. I think I'm gonna just continue adding presence while I can. Let's go over here. Just reach all around here. So actually, if I went for why don't you and them fight play, it would be more effective to put this presence over there. So let's do that. And then I can do a why don't you and them fight. Then they just build another town there. Or I could go for arson. Arson doesn't seem all too bad, except they're just going to build a town there afterwards. So I can go Panthers. Impersonate Insight. Impersonate Insight lets me, after they ravage here, I can still just wipe out everything in there, stop it from being a mining land and everything. Plus I can add an extra strife to an adjacent to one of these. Great. As for Keeper, I need to reclaim, and let's draft a major. So, all right, Vigor is awesome. Vigor of the Breaking Dawn is really good. I have all the elements between the Vigor and Sky's Herald for that. I don't have any destroyed presence yet, but Sky's Herald could still be useful to just move Dahan into the position that I need. They actually work together quite nicely. Rapid Wings of Sunlight. I also have, I have all the elements except for the air. Irresistible Call. Again, all the elements except the air, and lets me just move everything into a land, which also immediately triggers the Habsburg mining expedition loss condition, so I definitely never want to use that. Add to Bloodrack Plague lets me add some disease, and disease are ravage skips for this adversary. However, I don't have the thresholds to really do that. I think Vigor is just a no-brainer here because I just have Dahan all over the place already, and I can use it. I can use it to get rid of this. I can create a Sacred Site to move Dahan in position. I can Sky's Herald to move Dahan. So yeah, let's do a Vigor, and let's forget. Let's forget Boon of Growing Power. Add a presence. And let's just gain some, let's just start getting some energy going here. So we'll do this. We can move the Dahan over here. That way I can be in position to start setting up for some Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. And then... Alright, so I'm not in range of a regrow target. Let's do Gift of Living Energy again, now that I have 2 Sacred Sites. And let's do a Sacrosanct Wilderness. That way I still have my damage over here. I've got, I can add more wilds around, and I can give Trickster some good energy for a major. All right, so Trickster will do a why don't you and them fight up here. Just kill that town, then they'll create another one. I'll do a let's see what happens. Let's see, where do I want that? So they're going to be ravaging here. That explorer will die. They're building there. They're building here. Vigor solves this if I need. So let's see what happens there. Okay, Veil the Knight's Hunt, unfortunately, is just a miss. Now, it is really good elements, actually, so the question is there a card I'd like to forget for that? I think I will forget Overenthusiastic Arson for it. And then we can... Now, if I do Sacrosanct here, then I can basically clear this land out in my slow phase with Punish. Let's also do a Gift of Living Energy. And then, yeah, let's go with... Let's do a Sacrosanct there, just to kind of work on creating a nice pocket. Okay. So I have to push. All right, so now my Impersonate Incite. I can still actually make good use of it in here because I can just do it with a city over. They'll build a city in land 3. So let's do that, and then that's actually slightly better use of it, I'd say. And let's get this Explorer. Let's see, what do the beasts do? Okay, they just generate fear. Yeah. Push 2 Dahan from a land with Blight to a land without Blight. That's... Okay, I guess I'll just push over here, let my Trickster kind of move things around. And we'll Ravage here. Yep, another thing, but luckily there were no other invaders to upgrade. We can upgrade... Alright, so over here, let's just upgrade that to a town. And then over here, we can upgrade You. All right. Mountains explore. So, all right, they also explore into other lands. So let's hit you and you. And then we'll have this one explore here for a future punish. Okay. And then you can also explore here, sure. All right, so now we'll impersonate here. And I can actually solve 2 lands in 1 with this, so let's do that. And then we'll incite. Perfect. And let's see. I can start just adding beasts around. So let's add a beast back here, just in case it can help me out with something. Now for mountains, explore and everything. So first let's do a punish. More fear. And we'll do a spreading wilds over here. Let this come to there. Okay. Now for Trickster, I think it's time to go for a major. All right, Instruments of Their Own Ruin solves a lot of my problems. If I can just get a sacred site, because first off, it's aside from the sun, it's on element. And second off, it just adds strife. I can also pay extra energy to add another strife somewhere. However, Incite the Mob kind of does that to a smaller scale, and I don't really feel like I need instruments for that. Ravaged Undergrowth, that's great for Keeper, but not great for me, really. Removing Blight is not great for me because I have to pay, or I have to destroy presence every time I do. Jungle Hungers, do I have the plant for? I don't have the plant yet. And then Land Thrashes solves 2. Honestly, it can just solve a lot of different lands if I need. I don't have the earth element for that, but this has the Moonfire as well. Let's see. I think I lean more towards Jungle Hungers because it's cheaper and pretty easy for me to threshold with 1 more minor power. So let's hit that and forget. I think Prowling Panthers has had its time in the sun. I don't really need it anymore. And then we'll add a presence, and we'll add one to a spot where I can make use of the Jungle Hungers. So let's do it right there. And then after they explore in all the non-mining lands, Jungle Hungers will have even better benefits. So we'll hit this. We'll oh man, Shadows of the Burning Forest is actually a really good option too, because that stops them from building in this mountain. So I might actually add my presence there. Though I already have it here, so I can maybe just stop them there. No longer have worries about that. And then I could just do like an impersonate incite again over here or something on my reclaim, or I could just reclaim this turn, impersonate incite. I don't have a solution for that one really, but they will just be upgrading something there. If I reclaim, then let's see if I did so impersonate Insight, and maybe Veil the Night's Hunt or something like that. That gets me all my elements I need for my beast damage, but then I need this to be here for it. I could also I need a presence in range 1 of this land. I wish I could do both. I need to I want to be in 0 of this so I can have this beast solve land 5 for me. I also want to be in range 1 of here so I can have my strife solve land 1. But I can't do both. I can skies. There we go. There we go. Okay. Wait. Does Sky's Herald help me here? Not really. So if I were to Sky's Herald, I would be able to add a presence back on one of these lands. But again, not in range, not in the range that I am needing right now. So let's move this presence because I can push a Dahan out of here, make that somewhat useful. Is there anything I can do? All right, so if I were to so with my impersonate, I could actually still make use of that because the strife I add will I can impersonate inside over here, and then the strife I add can be added somewhere else adjacent. I just need I need to not let that blight right now, I think. And then next turn I get a miner and hope for just literally anything plant, which it seems pretty plausible to get. Over here, I can just Vigor solve that land for me. And then I also have an extra strife and a tier 2. Let's see what happens. This is, yeah, this is all looking great. So on you, let's add a presence. And I think I can afford to start going up towards more card plays. So let's add a presence here. Gain a power. And let's see if there's another miner I'd like to play. So Gift of Constancy is awesome, obviously. Call to Isolation lets me also Threshold Vigor, though. Yeah, Sky's Herald is already doing that. Call to Guard would be decent. Just some defense. Let's see. I think I want to save. I could save my Vigor for next turn, or I could reclaim. Next, I add my presence to a land without blight here. Then I add a second. No, I need to be able to add a presence without blight, and then add a second one to move all these guys, I think. I can actually Sky's Herald and push or gather 2 Dahan out of there. I did that. That seems pretty good. Yeah, okay, so let's... Just for more Dahan movement, I think I want to be able to do my call to isolation. And then we'll add a presence to a land without blight. And since I don't have Towering Wrath, I don't really have much incentive to create a bunch of sacred sites anymore. So let's just start spreading ourselves out more. I'm gonna put one up here, just as a way of kind of helping out since Trickster is not really touching these much. And that actually gives me a really good target for Vigor of the Breaking Dawn as well. So that just solves my land 1. So let's do that. And I can also, alongside that, do a regrow from roots actually. Though I would rather get my thresholded vigor. Oh wait, I have 3 card plays now. That's right. So let's also do a regrow. So Sky's Herald lets me add a presence for you. Which allows me to let's see. So first let's do our vigor. And then let's push. Kill that land as well. We'll okay, yeah. I don't want to push blight right now. I kind of just want to be able to, unless that blight is in lands that are problematic, which actually this one's gonna be a problem land. I want to see what happens there first. So I guess we'll just push. Let's push him over here. I can deal with that. No, I don't want to forget that. Forget a card for that. Okay. So on my next turn, Vigor actually just solves both of these as well, I think. At least it almost does. So, where do I want Dahan to go next? So let's do a why don't you and them fight here. Let's, also, yeah, just let that die. Okay, an energy, add one there. And then I can... Let's get these Dahan out of here. So let's add a presence. Gather to Dahan. Now that clears that land out. And then I can actually, let's fail the Knight's Hunt there. Because then when I do my impersonate incite, the town will just kill the city. Okay, 1 damage per beast. So now that is completely solved. The town will kill the city, and then it'll die in the next Ravage with Strife. That dies. That dies. Add a Dahan to a land with Dahan and no bad stuff. So we'll put one here and then there. Perfect. Okay. Okay, that's the only one. So I can either remove an explorer there or here. Let's get rid of one there. Beautiful. And then okay, we'll upgrade here. All right. And unfortunately, the explore action ignoring wilds is causing some grief. So we can go ahead and impersonate, pay an energy to add another one, and let's incite, or let's add another one here, because that way I can push another Dahan in. This land is still solved on the Ravage and doesn't build. So let's incite. Nope, sorry. Incite. You deal damage and kill that city. We'll do a regrow from roots here. Just get rid of one of the blight. And then I can stop a build somewhere. Unfortunately, everything has 2 explorers on it. Let's stop a build. Over here to kind of preserve the pocket that we have, because I can wipe that out later, and it's not building anyways. Now for keeper, let's do a reclaim, and we're just gonna kind of start looping vigor probably. We'll add a presence, and I can just have a fourth go up to a 4th card play. And let's put one in a spot where I can do something with all the Dahan I've got. And then we'll do a vigor, gift of living energy, call to isolation, and Sky's Herald. Actually, you know what? Sacrosanct Wilderness solves one of these building lands. There we go. Yep. Okay, and then let's see. So now when they ravage here, it is going to end up being an issue. Then they're going to build there as well. Man, that's rough. I'd like to go over here just to push a Dahan out. So I'm going to add a presence. And I would like to let's see if I can find a 0 cost miner. No, I would like to just get the energy so I can play Jungle Hungers, and then everything else that'll just solve one of these bad things. Okay, so let's do that. So vigor cleans up that land, and then so it wouldn't solve this one. So let's just go over here so it solves this one. Perfect. And then called to isolation solves this land, stops it from building. And then Sacrosanct solves this one, stops it from building. And then Gift of Living Energy, I'll just give it to you. Okay. Add an explored town to a town with blight or towns. So I forgot to push a Dahan out of my jungle again. Dang it. Okay. So we'll just add there and there. Stop that build. Okay, well now my mistake is once again unpunished. Actually, you know, I would like to destroy these two though. And then great, I get to reclaim a card. So let's reclaim Incite the mob, since I'm more likely to be able to do something with that anyways. It doesn't really matter, I'm going to be reclaiming next turn. Alright, 1 damage per Dahan. So let's hit. So none of these are relevant. In that case, we want to hit probably a land that is building. Turn. Let's see. This one is ravaging. This one's not doing anything. If I do the damage, then ironically it does ravage next turn. Actually, it doesn't. So let's just do that. Perfect. And then yeah, let's just let him build another town. It's just fear. Man, and now they're building there too. Yeah, I really messed that up. Okay, and now we have a major problem there. Okay. Let's upgrade here. Man. Okay, so yeah, that's right. We need to also do all these extra explorers. Let's just start popping my wilds a little bit. And then we can explore here and here. Okay, so now okay. I can stop the ravage here. I'll push out to this one. Unexpected tigers lets me do another push somewhere, and I'm thinking I want to just kind of make a good jungle hungers target. I wish it wasn't going to be destroying all these Dahan though, so let's see if I can do something better. So Shadows of the Burning Forest. Let's hit this one still, but push him out this way. And then we'll do an unexpected tigers here. And we'll do a, let's see, is there somewhere I would like to do a spreading wilds? Let's just go over here probably. Let's see, do I get to push up to 2? Oh yeah, I do. Huh, I've never actually reached that before. I forgot that was per sun. So I'm gonna actually push out of here, so they don't ravage. And I'll go ahead and just push into one of my lands for some extra damage. And then we'll do a nice punish here. Actually, let's have pushed like this. And then punish. And then we'll do a jungle hungers right there. Okay, now this is a very urgent issue. I need to solve this somehow. So some ways I can do it are moving all of my Dahan in, trying to move a bunch of Dahan into there, and then I can do Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. I think that is a good option. So I'm gonna reclaim. We will I might be able to just slot in another major. Let's go for another major, see if I can do anything like that. This goes really well with Vigor. Really nicely. It's cheap too. It moves my stuff and gives me defense. Let's get rid of Gift of Living Energy, because I just want as much Dahan movement as I can possibly get. And then we'll or actually no, let's let's grab trees and stones, and we'll get rid of Sacrosanct. It's just too expensive. And then we also get to add a presence. I'll add a... I'll just get up to 5 card plays here. Okay. So, Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. We'll do Sky's Herald, Call to Isolation, Trees and Stones, Gift of Living Energy. And then we will... Alright, now we have a couple of problems that we need to try solving here. So, they're not ravaging in land 2 because of the disease. They are ravaging in land 4, and that could destroy Fear Dahan. I know I need to reclaim. And I'll move a presence. I can do a nice why don't you and them fight. Let's see. I want this presence out here. I need jungle hungers to pop off. And then I think I need to just gain a major again. Let's see what I get. Dissolve the bonds of kinship, really good. Really good way to solve problem lands, and I can also start getting rid of like towns and cities around. I'm still ways away from Terra level 3. See. Vanish is on element. I can remove a bunch of I can remove a few invaders. Let's grab Vanish, and then I'll get rid of Veil. And I'll grab an Impersonate just for the extra strife that I get out of it. Man, I don't have the elements for Vanish right now, so we'll just Incite again. And I can actually also turn this into a non-mining land by just playing Unexpected Tigers here instead. Yeah, that does it. So we'll finish, and then... Okay. So let's gather to Dahan out of here. We'll push a blight over here that can be removed later with regrow. We can also push a Dahan. Or actually, oh wait, I keep forgetting to use my free push. So let's do that first before I forget. Let's push this one. Okay. All right. Now, we can do our call to isolation. Oh, nope. Call to isolation. Let's push a Dahan out. We'll do our Sky's Herald to gather to Dahan. And push a blight. We'll do our... Oh man, actually, I would like to just regrow from roots, because then I can threshold my trees and stones. Good delaying energy. There we go. Okay. Okay, now, did I do my push already? I did do my push. So now we'll do our Sky's Herald. Get that blade out. Call to isolation. Okay, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8 damage. I could also use these for defense. It kind of does the same thing at the end of the day. So they're attacking for 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8. If I were to do the defense, I would need more somehow. Let's do a why don't even them fight there. That stops the ravage. Let's do a... Let's see what happens here. Okay. That actually helps a decent amount, I think. Gets me the trees and stones. Speak of war solving here. And then birds cry warning. So I think that's fine. I'm just gonna skip. It's really only worth forgetting if I get some extra jungle hungers thresholding stuff. So yeah. Now we'll do Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now if I were to push, and I don't think that really does much for me. So let's just finish. Let's do trees and stones. Oh wait, I don't have that. I forgot to play my stupid regrow from roots, and I already did a leech. Let's see what happens. Okay. Well then, that's just unfortunate. I just screwed that up. Bad memory. Okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna have to destroy presence because there are no lands with Dahan that don't have my presence on board E. Now I do have a lot for that. I don't mind the invaders in Dahan having more health. I suppose I can just yeah, I think that's fine. So let's do Fortify Life. And I'll have Trickster pay 2 energy. And we'll add a beast. Let's add one over here. We'll add a beast over here. Okay. Didn't get any blight removal. Alright, add the strife to a town or add the strife in a land with blight. That actually solves this land. So let's ravage. And ravage there. We'll just upgrade town. Okay, yep. And we'll upgrade you, so I can, I'll just do that, do the impersonate authority insight into that. And then we'll also upgrade you. Alright. Now, right, extra explorers as well. This is just annoying. Okay, so Jungle Hungers goes there. I'm gonna Jungle Hungers there, so that's just not gonna be a problem anymore. And I'll explore into here. And then as for you, now, how much damage do I have from this? Just 2. Okay. Let's explore into here. And here. And then I'm gonna just do my unexpected tigers. Oh. Oh. Okay, fine. We'll impersonate. Pay an energy to add a strife somewhere. Let's add one here just in case. We'll incite. Jungle Hungers. Punish. And Wilds. Okay. Now it's time to start just doing Jungle Hungers and Vigor of the Breaking Dawns over on this board, and then I've pretty much got it cleaned up, I think. So now invaders have -1 health and everything, so that also helps with my other things. We will reclaim, and let's just add a presence to my to one of my lands. Let's add a presence over here. And then Vigor, Sky's Herald, Trees and Stones, or I don't need the Trees and Stones actually, so we'll do Regrow, Gift of Living Energy, Call to Isolation. You also reclaim, and I'll have you move a presence here. That way I can potentially Jungle Hungers out of there. And energy equal to card plays. Jungle Hungers, Vanish, Impersonate, Insight. I think that gets me the threshold on that. Yep. Okay. So we're gonna do a... Let's do Sky's Herald. Oh wait, I forgot to push to Han again. I don't want to do that. Push to Han. Let's just push out of here. And now we do it. Okay, Sky's Herald. Add a presence. Move a blight. Let's just move it over here. Call to isolation. Gift of living energy. Vigor. Push him. And then, let's see. I think I'm just gonna save my why don't you and them fight for slow so I can throw more strife around later when more problems arise. But let's see what happens here. Okay, nothing. It does have that extra plant that I need for Jungle Hunger's threshold, but at this point I don't have cities anymore, so let's just skip. Okay. What am I missing? Oh, yeah, right. Why don't you and them fight? I'm gonna wait till they're slow for that. Okay. On a coastal land, no, on each board we add a blight to a land with or adjacent to towns or cities. I honestly don't really mind that all too much. Let's see. So over here, actually, there are no good spots to add blight without destroying presence, but Sky's Herald just brings presence back anyways, so I think I might just let that happen anyways. Let's just destroy presence here. And then... no, I'm not... Why do I have to destroy presence? Oh, Blighted Island. When I add blight, it destroys all presence in a land, and... Okay, so actually... It's the same if I just don't add a blight. So let's just destroy two. We'll go here and here. And then over on this board, we'll destroy here and here. Oh wait, but no, I want... Oh wait, no, I've got the insight range there. Okay. Choose a land with disease. Okay. Defend. So we push up to 3 towns or cities from a land not matching a build card. It doesn't really matter. Like I can... if I push these, Jungle Hungers still just has a target. It's just a different land that it goes out of. However, I can consolidate these actually into one big Jungle Hungers land. So let's let's consolidate. So they go like that. And then this goes here. And now, oh wait, they ravaged. That's right. Okay. Well, that's still a big Jungle Hungers land. I'm just gonna let that happen. Upgrade. And I'll let you have an upgrade as well. And then I'm so close now. Okay. So we'll punish. And I suppose I can do damage here too, but I just want to stop that build. Or just let them go. Actually, no. Stops the build if I do that. So let's do this right here. Boom, boom. Great. Spreading wilds. Put you up here. Regrow. Get rid of a blight. Actually, let's get rid of a blight here. We can jungle hungers. We can first. Okay, yeah, we'll just vanish there. And then, or actually no. I will vanish here. Great. And then impersonate. I'll add a strife there, insight. Or actually, sorry, whoops. Insight. You deal the damage. And then, why don't you and them fight? So they're not building anywhere here. They're not ravaging anywhere here. They're also not ravaging anywhere here. So let's just do a nice little... Why don't you and them fight there, I guess. And skip. Okay. So now there's just a town remaining that can be solved in the fast phase by just letting it, just having vigor go off. I'm still gonna reclaim, and then I'll just add a presence. Let's throw one. Let's just throw one down here, and then we'll go once again vigor, regrow, trees and stones, sky's herald, gift of living energy, and then as for you, let's see if I can find a different fast power to solve this with. Nope. So we'll just. It doesn't really matter anymore, so I'll just add a presence here, and I'll help by pushing a Dahan at least. Okay. And we'll go trees and stones. Bigger. And that is a win. Okay. I feel like I had quite a few blunders in this game, especially with pushing out, forgetting to push out Dahan, but I think it went pretty well, and I'm still just learning this adversary, so I'm excited to hit level 5 later.